Hey, well, I just wanted to come on and I wanted to speak my truth, my opinions, my thoughts as a non-doctor, non-expert, just someone who has had to spend a lot of years processing and picking apart the aftermath within me, the aftermath of trauma, the aftermath and the PTSD. And I only post when I got a feeling on something, that unsettledness going on inside, in how now I'm that aware of my emotions. I hunt them when they appear, and I use the overthinking and I place that over them to question why. Why am I reacting so badly to a waffle placed out, a green mint waffle which Megan's created in her kitchen and placed out to the world? I shouldn't have a reaction. I shouldn't have this reaction of bad, negative feeling towards that. But should I? And it got me thinking some more, because by extension, people say to me as I speak about the aftermath of my story, how they've never experienced that. But what I see and what I've seen across the board is this mass gathering of people who need accountability. They need justice. They don't agree with what Harry and Meghan done. They've got these unsettled feelings in watching them carry on. By extension, a minuscule, a microcosm, it's become of a trauma bond placed over their face, in which we carried towards the last days of the Queen. It's heavily combined, I feel. It was unprecedented. No one could have prepared or understood how that day was going to feel when London Bridge had fallen. And we were overcome with shock, globally stood still. And all alongside that, adjacent running theme was Harry and Meghan. Is he going to pause the book? Are they going to sit on that sofa still? Have they done it with Oprah? What's stopping them on Netflix? In this constant onslaught of headlines in which Harry and Meghan sort of stole that real joyful grief and replaced it with an angry feeling, because how dare you, God save our Queen. And this is what I feel. I feel like the people cannot move past that. We are stuck, and this is quite similar to the aftermath. Well, obviously I speak about my story, that abuse which I experienced every day in my home for 14 years solid. So times what you're feeling by 1 trillion. It's that feeling of you can't unsee it. We can't go back in time. We can't change what happened. But I'm left with this undealt with anger and sadness and frustration. And by extension to that as well, this was the Queen. This is the woman we used to come and celebrate with. We used to commiserate with. We used to be alongside, and she would speak to us in moments of great divide. She used to bring unity. She used to bring joy. So she encapsulates every emotion, and our memory with her were based purely on a feeling. And Harry and Meghan and what they did in the moments of the last years is we can't forgive. We can't forgive that, but we can't move on from that, because we know that the Queen could never get peace from that. To make things worse, we're watching as they continue. We're watching King Charles. We're watching his cancer. We're connected also over there. We're watching Thomas Markle Sr. and how poorly and weak he is. And we're going to have to go through this very thing again. And this is what you do when you come out and you create that emotional connection with people, a bit like Harry and Meghan did. And this is why Philip didn't want them to air their laundry out in full display, because then the people connect in a different way. In every way they connect, it's not always a good way. And yeah, I look across the board, this mass reaction. And I don't mean because it's been dressed up like a narrative, but strip it back. It's that basic. It's that basic. The Queen, we all worshipped, we all loved and adored over a mass time of 70 plus years. We sat with our nan and granddads on Christmas Day and watched her speech as she spoke to the nation and wished them a good day. We have lost our grandparents too in similar ways. We watched their weak, we watched their unstable, we watched as they disappeared in front of our eyes, and we can't compute how they sat there with despise and lies. So a lifestyle brand is never gonna work. A waffle with squirty cream hair is never gonna make me find a fluffy and fun feeling. A endless loop of speaking of family time is never gonna stop me unseeing. And I will always carry this heavy feeling of sadness and grief connected to our Queen when I see anything Harry and Meghan will do or achieve. And the only way forward I can see for Harry and Meghan, if they want any real certainty with the people, and maybe one day and coming round to greet and see and not have this feeling of deep negativity, that's practice what you preach and say goodbye to those titles in which you treat so entitled. That's coming out to look back to your past, to acknowledge your bad. Because if there's any part of them that feels that they made the wrong choice, they need to acknowledge that for us all to hear, to see, to feel, to strike balance against all the pain, suffering that really was so real, you know? So I just wanted to speak to that, really. The aftermath for me is loads of emotions just kicking about. The anger, the frustration, the sadness, the memories, the flashbacks. I've had to slowly process them and find them a place and acknowledge them so I can fix them and see them. My husband calls me sadness out of inside out, but like the movie dictates, you need to see and feel the sadness in order to find the joy. And that's what I kind of do in my own special way as a non-doctor, non-expert, just a person, a people and a mom, who found myself and my life turned upside down by the sadness I felt and doubt, and slowly had to connect the dots to find a better way out. And this is what Harry and Meghan need to do. They need to acknowledge, they need to see, they need to connect to the real feeling lay so deep across the people, across the audience, the consumers, in which they heavily want on their side. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work this way. Life doesn't work this way for that average person on the street. You can't just go and do all of that, then just walk away so happily. But we're watching them do that. We're watching her smile. We're watching her do waffles. We're watching her carry on with endless shows which don't really grow any support. In fact, it does the opposite and more. Because the more we see her continue without a care in the world, like her mistakes don't matter in this game, that her actions don't speak a different way, the more negative response she's gonna get, because it don't fix this feeling that we've got going on inside for the life so kind, so beautiful and caring, and the Queen, you know? But again, I'm not a journalist, I'm not an expert, I'm just a people and a person like you who shouldn't react to a green waffle placed on my screen. But I do, and that's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to disappear. So the more Harry and Meghan bury their head in the sand, this is only going to get worse year after year.